In this video, I'm going to teach you several scientific benefits of optimism. I'm going to show you one potential side effect of a negative kind of optimism, and then I'm going to show you how to become more optimistic. Hey everybody, Chad Cruiser here with Health and Homestead. And here's some research on cheerfulness and longevity. A study was conducted looking at people who lived most of their years of life eating the same food, living the same lifestyle. These were nuns. They looked at their journals and found that 90% of those who used the most cheerful words were alive at 85 years old versus only 34% who were the least cheerful. Being cheerful may not mean that you're optimistic, but it's probably pointing you in the right direction. But here's a study specifically on optimism and coping with difficulties. A meta-analysis was conducted looking at people who are optimistic in difficult circumstances versus those who withdrew, avoided, or ignored difficulties. Now, it may be kind of obvious, but those who were optimistic had stronger coping skills than those who were more pessimistic. What about heart disease? Research reported in the Archives of Internal Medicine reveals that people with the highest levels of optimism had 55% lower risk of dying of our number one killer, heart disease. In a study looking at people's levels of optimism after a coronary bypass surgery, found that those who were more optimistic healed faster and got back to a normal lifestyle quicker than those who were less optimistic. So we see that optimistic people are more likely to have less heart disease and even heal faster after a surgery. But what about longevity in general? Research reported in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences in the United States of America revealed that those who are optimistic have 11 to 15% higher lifespan than those who are pessimistic. It turns out that this might be one of the most important factors to living a healthy, happy, and a long life could be how optimistic you are. What about school and optimism? The Journal of Applied Social Psychology reports that optimistic people who went to colleges were more likely to finish, and they were more likely to have a higher grade point average. Now, one of the factors about optimistic people that might make them live longer than other people is that they're more prone to be kind of up to date on the health impacts of a healthy diet and lifestyle, exercise, also more prone to understand the effects of negative things like smoking or drinking on their physical health. And maybe it's because they're really more open to thinking, hey, well, if there's things I can do to be healthier, maybe I should do them. And maybe more pessimistic people are thinking, well, there's nothing you can do. I mean, we're all going to die. There's nothing you can do about it. So changing the way that you think could make you healthier and happier, potentially for the rest of your life. So now I want to share with you a little bit about something that may be more like toxic optimism. What would that be? I read the story of a soldier who was in a concentration camp, and he shared that those who didn't seem to make it through the torture and the trials of being in one of these terrible predicaments were the ones who had this maybe toxic optimism, meaning they would be saying, we're going to get out by Christmas. I know we're going to get out by Christmas. And then, well, they weren't out by Christmas. Oh, we're going to be out by Easter. I know we're going to get out by Easter. And these people who were just hoping for the future and guaranteeing something would happen at this time, it just didn't turn out, and they were more likely to succumb, to be crushed, or maybe even die as a result of this. So there's a kind of optimism that is almost irrational. Like, there's other ideas where, oh, I'm always going to be safe no matter what I do. Even if I do something dangerous, I'm going to be okay. You can understand how that could be a toxic form of optimism rather than just kind of a hopeful, well, be great if we got out by Christmas or whatever it was. Yeah, that could be positive, but guaranteeing it, you could be setting yourself up for a level of failure that might actually turn you into a depressed individual. Before we talk about how to become more of an optimist, I want to share with you quickly some of the thought processes that you would find in a pessimist versus an optimist. And Martin Seligman kind of gives us this idea, the man who really has probably studied this more than anybody else. He shares that pessimists look at positive experience in life as fleeting. Well, that was just kind of a fluke, it happened, but it's really not going to, that great situation isn't really going to impact my future. And the pessimists, on the other hand, will look at the opposite kind of situation, meaning a bad situation or a bad experience, as permanent. It will have permanence in their life. Yeah, this is how it always is. Bad things always happen to me. Whereas the opposite is true for the optimist. The optimist looks at a bad situation and said, yep, that wasn't the best situation, but you know what? Maybe things will get better in the future. I can have hope that something better will happen. And they look at good situations as more permanent. Yep, this is how life goes. And they look at it and think, yes, these are the things that normally happen to me. But both groups have similar experience in life. It really is just dependent on the way that they look at their experience, not the experiences themselves. So now I want to share with you some things that you can do to become more optimistic. Now the first one has to do with what's called the locus of control, or the point of control. You see, pessimists believe that the control of their life is some outside circumstances. Circumstances are what impact me, and there's really nothing I can do about it. Versus a person who's optimistic, they on the other hand believe, no, that I impact what happens in my life. Though things happen around me, I can impact what takes place around me. So if something bad takes place, well, I can find a way to work around it and find a better way out of the situation. Because of that, as we've already said, someone who is optimistic, even in a difficult situation, will find a way out of it. So you find out you have cancer. Well, what am I going to do? And a pessimist might say, well, there's nothing I can do. I may just die from this. And well, you might. Or they might say, I'm going to do whatever it takes. Are there good dietary things I could do? Do I need to exercise more? Do I need to get out in the sunlight? Do I need to drink more water? And I'm going to do whatever I can to work around this situation. I'm going to do my best so that this thing won't take me out. So you can learn to do this by, even today, begin to do good health habits. Meaning if you're not an exerciser, make a determined effort to say, I'm going to start exercising. And if you start doing that, and then you say, well, I need to drink more water and not be drinking sodas or pop or whatever. I need to get to drinking, the healthiest thing I can, water, right? And so as you begin to implement new health habits, you're going to realize the locus of control, that you are the one. You're the arbiter of your own destiny. You get to choose your future, regardless of the circumstances that may come your way. Now, a second way that has been shown to help people become happier and more optimistic is learning to have an attitude of gratitude. Here's the science of gratitude. Summer Allen, PhD of UC Berkeley. A study of 12,439 people in the United States revealed that gratitude was one of the greatest predictors of life satisfaction or happiness. Other traits that correlated with life satisfaction were love, hope, and zest. And one of the ways that you can implement gratitude in your own life is to learn to be thankful. Thinking of 3 things every single night. You could do it in the morning, either way, but thinking of 3 things every day that you are thankful for. We're actually told that everything in the Bible that is commanded to us is actually for our own benefit. So even gratitude, even becoming a thankful person, can make you happier and even healthier, but it might make you more optimistic and may impact your whole future life. Another thing that you can do to enhance your levels of optimism is to become someone who helps others. You see, when we're always thinking about self, we are selfish. But when we go out of our way to think of what can I do to make my wife happy, my husband happy, my children happy, or how can I maybe help out a poor person, maybe go helping out at a place that serves the homeless, serves them food and so forth. By doing that, it can make you more optimistic because it can make you recognize all the blessings that you personally have. And by helping others, it helps you not think about yourself and might help make you a more optimistic person. Another great point is simply going to bed earlier. When you're super tired, it's hard to be optimistic. Your body's not functioning as it should be. You're not able to take up the glucose from your bloodstream as well as you would if you had been sleeping earlier or getting a good night's sleep. So simply going to bed early. I did a whole video on this, on the scientific benefits of getting up early and going to bed early, and I'll leave a link at the end of the video for that. Another key point is learn to not lie to yourself. I'll give you an example. A pessimist in a difficult situation, something goes bad, maybe they don't do well on a test, and they say, I never do good. I'm so dumb, I'm the dumbest person. Well, you're lying to yourself. You probably have done good at some point in your life on something, and you're not the dumbest person in the world. That's a lie, right? So learn to check false self-talk, meaning challenge the self-talk that you have, and learning to tell ourselves the truth and say, well, okay, I didn't do good on that test. What could I do to do better next time? Instead of just thinking, oh, I could never do good, maybe I need to study harder. Maybe I need to, well, live a healthier lifestyle so that I'm not so tired all the time, so it's so hard to study. And thinking of ways to tell yourself the truth. No, I need to be honest with myself. How can I do better next time? So this is a way of choosing to think of ways on how I could do better. Yes, if bad things happen to everybody. I mean, that's just a simple fact of life. But how can I learn to navigate around the difficulties so that I can learn to have success? This last one may be a bit of a surprise unless you've seen some of my other videos, that depending on what you eat can make you healthier, but not only healthier, it can make you happier the very day that you eat it and can make you more happy the next day according to research. Here's a study right here in the American Journal of Public Health, and notice on the left-hand side from bottom to going up is how your level of life satisfaction or happiness, and from left to right is how many servings of fruits or vegetables. If you eat 0 fruits or vegetables, you're at statistically the lowest level of happiness. If you eat 1, it makes a tiny difference. Then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 servings of fruits or vegetables, the research shows that it will make you happier that day that you eat them, but it will also predict how happy you'll be the next day. And I'll tell you, one of the greatest things that has changed my life to being a healthier, happier person, and even really the happier person, is changing my diet to eating at least 8 servings of fruits or vegetables every single day, because it impacts my health and happiness today. But remember, it forecasts how happy I'm going to be tomorrow. So it's also teaching delayed gratification. So we see that optimistic people are healthier, they are happier, and you can learn several different things on how to become a more optimistic person. Now, there may be some I haven't thought of. You can share those down in the comments section. Check out the links below. And if you like this video, I'm optimistic that you will hit the subscribe button. God bless and have a fantastic day.